Get ready for a rip-roaring battle in the streets of Metro City when the Mad Gear Gang kidnaps Mayor Mike Haggar's daughter, Jessica. Needless to say, Haggar, Guy, and Cody are going to let their fists do the talking. It's all right here in our review of First Fight Number 1 from UDON Entertainment. See you in 3. Welcome back to Comical Opinions. This is our review of Final Fight Number 1. Hollywood could learn a lot from Matt Moylan and UDON Entertainment in an industry that constantly fumbles comic book and video game adaptations because the creators think the source material is too silly, or they want to make it their own, and they want to put their personal stamp on it. Whatever the case may be, it's refreshing to see an adaptation that respects the source material. First Fight fans want to see their game brought to life, and that's exactly what you get here. Final Fight Number 1 begins with Mayor Mike Haggar of Metro City settling into his office for the morning. He notices a videotape, and this takes place in 1989, so look it up, kids. People use videotapes. And it's sitting on his desk, and his secretary says that it was left by a scruffy-looking courier. Before Mayor Haggar can play the tape, he gets a phone call. Thrasher, the leader of the Mad Gear Gang, tells the mayor to make sure the police stay out of the gang's way, or the mayor's daughter is in for a rough time. The tape the mayor holds in his hands is proof. When he plays the tape, he sees a recording of his daughter Jessica tied up in a secret location. Thrasher hangs up after telling the mayor he better decide to comply and let the gang run their will over the entire city. Looking back at the setup of this comic, sometimes simple is good. In this case, simple is best. In a few pages, Moylan sets up the scenario beautifully by establishing the world, the protagonist and the antagonist, the conflict, the stakes, and the mission. Not a single word balloon or panel is wasted. And that's exactly how every comic of this form of genre, action, adventure, superheroes, what have you, that's exactly how every one of them should start. Elsewhere, Cody and Guy are training at the local gym. Guy receives a call from Mayor Haggar about the kidnapping, and the two immediately meet with the mayor to find Jessica, and now the team has formed. Meanwhile, Roxy, Brett, and the other members of the Mad Gear Gang relentlessly taunt Jessica, saying she's never going to get out of it, and she's completely helpless. But even while tied up, Jessica proves she's just as tough as her father. Moylan introduces new readers to the classic sides of both ends of the conflict, with the heroes and the villains, and he does it all with effortless efficiency. You get a clear sense of who the heroes are, who the villains are, their personalities, and their motivations for getting involved in the conflict. In every sense, this is a classic bad guys versus good guys story. Thrasher hears a commotion outside the gang's hideout, and suddenly Mayor Haggar, Cody, and Guy explode through the door. What follows is a knockdown, drag-out brawl of epic proportions to take down the Mad Gear Gang and save Jessica from her kidnappers. The issue concludes with more power wrestling moves and a WWE Super Slam, a city street that could use some reinforcement because the concrete isn't so great, and a rough subway ride from Mayor Haggar. Overall, this is one of the better video game adaptation comics because it follows what works. Matt Moylan sets up the classic characters and conflict with laser-focused efficiency, and the video game-inspired action is just plain fun. Let's switch gears and talk about the art. Hats off to Matt Weldon for capturing the essence of Cody, Guy, and Haggar with near precision, but rendered beautifully to fit within the medium of comics. This isn't an 8-bit pixelation type of adaptation. You get characters who move with personality, fluidity, power, and force. As with the writing, Weldon's art, amplified by Espen Brudenkure's, if I'm saying that right, exquisite coloring, is everything a video game adaptation should be. We keep seeing this as a video game adaptation, so let's take a look at the big picture and where that comes from. The first Final Fight was released as a game cabinet that you could only find in arcades in 1989. There were 2 follow-up sequels, but those were released for the SNES, which is Nintendo's home gaming console. And those were spread out over a number of years. So if you wanted to play the original Final Fight, you had to go someplace to go play it. It was in an arcade. You can now get it online or for your game consoles, but that's where you had to go originally. So final thoughts, what do we think about Final Fight Number 1? It's a simple, straightforward, thoroughly entertaining video game adaptation that respects the source material and is presented with fantastic art. That is the exact model that every publisher should be following when they're doing adaptations. This issue proves you don't need to update a classic for modern audiences when the original is just fine the way it is. Keep it simple, keep it clear, respect the source material, and you're going to turn out with a great comic. Therefore, Final Fight Number 1 earns a 9 out of 10. Video game adaptations tend to be hit or miss, but UDON nailed this one simply because they've used what works. But what do you think? Are you enjoying UDON's video game inspired titles? This isn't the only one, we've covered a few here on the channel. Give us a thumbs up if you are, and leave us a comment below with which video game you'd like to see UDON tackle next. Also remember to click on the description to read the written review and to buy this comic to help the sports channel. That helps a lot and I appreciate it. So thank you very much for joining, and stay tuned through the outro for more reviews just like this one.